أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين بالقاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين الهداة المهديين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين في مقدمه الفداء ولعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم مجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في محكم الكتاب المبين وهو أصدق الصادقين وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر صدق الله العلي العظيم. Dear respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As you are all aware that the program Saheefa Sajjadiya used to be on live, but recently for a couple of weeks, as you all know, the health of Dr. Ghulam Hussain Adil, we all know that the conditions of his health were quite bad, and inshallah we all pray for his speedy recovery. And after the program that I set up for, there were a few topics that I chose, a few main topics, including the topics which regard the issues and the daily lives of youth. And inshallah, as previous programs were undergone, every week I brought a new topic. Every week we discussed the issues relating to, for example, knowledge, for example, the criterions of how to live a life, or the fundamentals of a human being, knowledge, where we should attain it, how we should attain it, from whom we should attain it from. So these are the topics that were discussed previous weeks. Inshallah, for today's program, as we all know that tonight is the Shab-e Wiladat of our beloved 8th Imam Ali ibn Musa Rada alayhi salam, and inshallah we will discuss briefly upon his life, but today's topic, before I split the program into two. The first part of the program will be concluded by how a human being, or how an individual attains the level of faith, and how important the human being is essential to have the faith, the iman in his soul or in his character. So we all know that iman is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives to a person. So a person attains the level of iman. So a person attains the level of iman, faith. We all know when the Holy Quran refers to Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, or people who believe, means that they are the people who have faith. They are the people that believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Holy Prophet. So when we talk about faith, faith is something which is stronger than and greater than knowledge, and nothing else can override, or anything which is superior to its powers or skill. And any darkness that you have in your life, any for example, if you've had a tragedy in your life, any dark defeat that you had in your life, when you have iman, when you have faith within yourself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala overcomes that triumph or that tragedy, and you will overcome that defeat, and you will overcome that the tragedy that you have, and it will turn into a great triumph. But that only and only alters your life if you have iman, if you have true trust and that ultimate trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and its Prophet. For faith is a mover of mountains. When we look at the Holy Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah verse number 177, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very clearly states that be righteous to the mu'mineen, and this only refers to those who believe. So those who believe, be righteous and accept Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as one, the prophets, the angels and the last day. In this specific verse of Surah Al-Baqarah verse number 177, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states 7 different things. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about 7 different things in this verse. First of all, Allah is talking about the oneness of Allah. Secondly, He's talking about the last day. Thirdly, He's talking about the prophets. You have to believe all these things in order for you to be on the level of Iman. So the third is the holy prophets. The fourth is the angels. The fifth is the book. The sixth is, as the ayah refers to, is help those needy people, help those who are wayfarers, help those who are poor. Always have that look over your shoulder to the other people. For example, if you are well off, or if you are earning a good living and you don't think about the people, that is something which goes against the Holy Quran, ultimately going against the Holy Prophet and then going against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because why? You are insisted to help other people because you have been given that wealth, because you have been given sufficient funds to keep your life going. You should also think about other people. In many verses of the Holy Quran, it's stated that always and always look at the poor and needy, always and always help the poor and needy. So when you help the poor and needy, you have that satisfaction within yourself that you have listened to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ultimately you have obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this was the sixth thing. The seventh and the final thing that is mentioned in this verse is the day of judgment was mentioned, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the criterion of how to live a life. When you live a life, you live it according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. You live it according to the criteria of what the set rules are to live a life. Allah has given you a choice, and many occasions you hear that there are choices within your life. You ultimately make that choice and you ultimately sacrifice for the way of Allah in order to achieve that goodness, in order to achieve that perfection in this life and inshallah the hereafter. So when you have these points set in front of you, the end part of this verse talks about an obeying or worshipping to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way that He wants you to worship. So the main thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you is to obtain or to keep up your obligatory prayers. When you keep up your obligatory prayers, this is the least what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you. So when you have these set points in your life, you know that is a clear sign that a person has iman, is a clear sign that a person has faith. We don't have to go through heavy formulas, or we don't have to go through very difficult books, or solve very difficult questions, or any type of structure that we need to solve. No, Allah has given you everything in front of Him. Whatever He has acquired, whatever He wants from you, He has given it on the plate to you. So our duty as human beings, as mankind, is to obtain the duties that Allah wants us to. Now when you have completed or accomplished the knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one, knowing that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last messenger, knowing that the angels are there, knowing that I am or we are helping the poor and needy, knowing that we are obtaining at least the fundamentals of Islam, we know that we are on the level of Iman. Every single soul can attain that level. Every single soul that wants to attain that level can attain that level. In Surah Al-Ahzab, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us that, and put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because why? Because why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a sufficient trustee. When we know that Allah is there, when we know that the wajib al-wujud is there, when we know that there is a creator, when we know that there is a protector, when we know that there is a nourisher, when we know that He is compassionate, He is merciful, and we read all the attributes about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we know He is there. And Allah in Surah Al-Ahzab verse number 3 states that trust in Him, because He is the one who is the most trustee. Sometimes when you live in a life, you come across good friends, you come across good teachers, you come across people that help you in every single cause, but sometimes that specific person might go against you. In order to realize that that person is going to go against you, or in the future is going against you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed that I am the trustee that you can trust all the time. No human being can trust another human being fully 100%, unless they are made to trust one another, unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put something in them two individuals that they can, whatever they say is true to one another. But it's come to this time and era where no one 100% trusts the second person. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises those who want to trust, or who have trust within themselves to Allah, that He is the best trustee. Challenges are made daily. Allah places challenges on human beings every single day, if not every single week, if not every single hour. Every moment of your life is a challenge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the most important thing is that, and the most interesting thing is that, when you overcome them challenges, when you overcome what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala places in front of you, it becomes meaningful. Why? Because when you've gone through a stage, when you've gone through a hurdle, when you've jumped over a hurdle, when you've placed yourself in that difficult situation, and you've seen the light at the end of the tunnel, and you know you've got out, you know that because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there, and you know that Allah wants you to overcome this problem with patience and with iman and with taqwa. When you overcome that, there's always a meaning to it, there's always a learning lesson to it, and your experience can be given to other people. So always remember that to achieve something, never give up. Why? Because it's always hard to wait around for something that might happen, but it's harder to give up something when you know that that's the thing that you always wanted. So when you know that you've always wanted that, never give up. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, go towards good deeds, go towards helping others, go towards this, go towards that. Many occasions, many verses of the Holy Quran go towards goodness. They strive towards goodness. When you go towards goodness, you will overcome bad deeds, and they will overflap them, and you will not intend to do anything bad. So when Allah has given you the opportunity to obey Him in the proper manner, then you yourself become on the level of iman, you yourself become on the level of faith, where only and only you think about Allah, and only when you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for anything, He is the one who replies back to you. With complete faith, you do not fear to be alone, you do not ask other people to be your sidekick or help you in any other cause or any other daily need that you have in your life. No, when you have Allah on your side, when you know that Allah is looking upon you, when you know that Allah is going to help you, then you don't need anyone else. Your life could be spent alone. Love is something rare, so you can hold on to it. Anger is something bad, so refrain from it. Memories are sweet, so cherish them. These are the cycles of life. When you go towards goodness, Allah repays you with goodness. Now we learn a heavy deal when we go through our life. For example, in the holy months of Rajab, Sha'ban, and the holy month of Ramadan, we learn that Allah has given us the opportunity to obey Him more, to think about Him more. Why has He placed these 3 months there? Is for us to understand how we need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That level, the utmost level that we seek Him. We don't realize in any other month. Why? Because Allah is trying to send you a message. That message is to keep Him and Him only in your thoughts. Why? Because He is your creator. Whatever you have in your life, He is the one who gave you. Whatever He takes away from you, you can't complain. Why? Because He was given to you and He will take it back from you. You do not own any land, because this is the land of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever you've earned in your life, yes, you've earned it. Whatever goodness that you've done, yes, you've earned that goodness. Whatever wealth that you've had, how many materialistic materials that you've had in your life, yes, you've had that, you've earned it, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ultimately the one who gave you that. And when you attained the goodness in your life, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Give shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah likes those who gives others, one, likes those people who ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness and thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the most important thing. Whatever thing that you've attained in your life, be it small, be it big, be it any size, any form or matter, thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as little as, because we know that if we do not hold anything in our life, we do not have any possessions in our life. For example, if you don't own a great car, or if you don't own a big house, or if you don't own materialistic life, materialistic needs that we have in our life, desires, we can literally thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all our lives for something that we don't even realize. We are breathing. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stopped our breath, then how will we be able to live? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala closed our eyes, how will we be able to see? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't make us hear, then how we would be here? How could we hear something if our ears were blocked? Or how could we hear something if we were deaf? How could we move if we didn't have any legs? How could we touch if we didn't have hands? How could we feel something if we didn't have the sense to feel? How could we taste something without the tongue? So at least when you think about materialistic life, think about the organs within your body, think about what you have as a human being. Isn't that enough to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So when you thank Allah for your health, we thank Allah for everything, not only what we have in our materialistic life. So do not distance yourself from Allah, because Allah wants you to come closer to Him. Allah wants you to become that muttaqi, that mu'min, that believer who has faith in Allah. In other words, when we read the Holy Quran in Surah Al-A'raf verse number 26, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states that wear the libas of taqwa, wear the libas of piety. وَلِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ, meaning that libas, that garment, that clothing is the best clothing. We cover ourselves, we cover our body when we go out, we cover ourselves at home. But this verse clearly states that when you wear the libas of taqwa, when you wear the libas of piety, this is the best type of clothing. Why? Because in the same way you are wearing clothes for your body, you should also wear clothes for your soul. How does this work? Taqwa, always, when you have that intention within yourself, taqwa always and always, when you want the level of taqwa, when you reach the level of iman, the next level is taqwa. When you want to strive for taqwa, you will always and always go towards goodness. When the whispers of shaitan occur in your ears, or when shaitan whispers in your ears, you know that you have one motto, you know that you have one goal, and that target is taqwa. If you listen to shaitan, then you will drop 10 levels down. Remembering Allah whenever you want to strive for something, for example, a minor example is if you want to achieve a good grade, for example, you work, you read X, Y, Z books, you know your stuff, and then when it comes down to the exam time, you become nervous. Why? Because they don't know what question you're going to ask. You don't know what question will be asked on that piece of paper, so you become nervous, and you only turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh Allah, make my exam more successful, make my exam successful, and may Allah, whatever I write on the piece of paper, it will be the right answer. So you usually pray and you supplicate to Allah to give you that good grade in the future. This is something which is minor, but you are going towards goodness. You want a good grade. In order for you to attain a good grade, you work hard. From working hard, you pass the exams. When you pass the exams, you open up doors for your future. When you open up doors for your future, for example, if you've gone to a field of medicine, if you've gone to a field of engineering, if you've gone to a field of any other field which is going to help human mankind and yourself in learning, do not forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not forget that He is the one that gave you that position. He is the one who gave you the opportunity to go there. If He didn't give you the opportunity to go there, there would be no way that you would have attained that level. So tranquility in how you repay Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most important thing, because when you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we remind ourselves many verses from the Holy Quran, many ahadith, only and only relating to taqwa, only and only relating to reaching high levels, being a muttaqi, being a mu'min, being sadiq, being the truthful. So ultimately, let us remind ourselves that what is the holiest goal? The holiest goal is to attain taqwa and developing that consciousness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are worthy of worship, and we are the ones who obey you in a proper manner. And we should also remember that taqwa shields us from any other sin, aggression, and we should also help one another in goodness and piety. In order to attain that level, we should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more. We should thank and help other people, remind ourselves that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always there, and He will look upon us, He loves us, He nourishes us, He provides for us. And inshallah, when we attain the level of faith, we have to step up a level and attain the level of piety, taqwa, and ultimately the level of yaqeen. Inshallah, there will be a short break, and after the break we will be back discussing the topic. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.